Hello again and welcome back to episode 3 of the Mario Kart series videos. Last time we looked at Mario Kart 64 and the realization that Mario Kart 64 is a fun game and that while I may not come back to it as much as the others, I still enjoy it to a point where it still feels quite skillful to play. I also said that in that same realization that happened to Mario Kart Super Circuit and how I really appreciate it more than I thought. With that out of the way, here's me learning to appreciate Mario Kart Super Circuit. By the time Mario Kart 64 came out, it paved the way for others to take a slice of the success, such as many casual kart racing games, or innovate or be inspired like Diddy Kong Racing, Crash Team Racing, or Sonic R. It all can be traced back to Mario Kart 64. Fast forward to 2001 and Nintendo's newest handheld, the Game Boy Advance, has reached the market. It was, in other words, a portable SNES, just like how the Game Boy and Game Boy Color were just portable NES. As there were some SNES games being ported to it, like the classic Mario series in the form of Super Mario Advance, the DKC trilogy, A Link to the Past got a GBA remaster, and Sonic 1 got a GBA port, unfortunately. But there were many games that debuted on the GBA, such as the two fantastic Metroid games, the Minish Cap. Wario Land 4 is said to be gaming's greatest achievement. The Pokemon series began to peak here, and my personal favorite GBA games, those being Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga and the Mega Man Zero Quadrilogy, prove that a fantastic story can be told on a small scale. I feel like I should really make a video about this some other day. I could be going on and on about how great it is, but to summarize, the GBA era to me feels like a part of the golden era of gaming during the SNES and Genesis era continues to thrive in a portable form factor and introduce a younger generation to that era and new games to play. The reason I go into so much detail about this era is the thesis of this can be applied to Super Circuit, a game that captures the essence of the first two Mario Kart games in portable experience. Reception for this game at the time was an outstanding 9 out of 10s by most people. However, as time flew by, most regarded this game to be quite forgettable or a game just simply existed, including myself. And now there seems to be a resurgence of people saying that the game is great, and we'll see if I share those same feelings. Now this is the part where I discuss any changes between games about the character roster and all that. But there's not much to talk about considering that the roster hasn't changed since 64, and same how cups function as always. Though there is one change that I did mention in my MK64 videos, that being the characters' voices. Mario, DK, and Bowser still sound the same, while Luigi, Toad, Peach, and Wario now use their Japanese voice clips, and Yoshi has his new voice updated from Yoshi's story. Now it's time to talk about the presentation. I'm recording this off a real cartridge on an original DS with a capture board installed by Loopy. Visually, it's fine enough. I know that many of these games tend to get a lot of flack for looking saturated, and that's triple for the games early in its lifespan, as the original one didn't have a backlight, and it wasn't until the GBA SP Game Boy player for the GameCube and the DS where they target those systems, as it can now display games with a richer color palette. Even though I am recording this off an authentic cartridge, I feel like as if I'm not giving the game much justice with the presentation. But hey, with the release of the GBA emulator on Switch, they actually made the games look like how it would be displayed on the release model, unlike the terrible filter they use in the entirety of the VC in Wii U, so give credit where credit's due, I suppose. Anyway, I do find that the game looks better than both games before, as it does reuse assets from 64, but I feel like it's better suited here than in that game. There are small details that I like, such as how the sun sets in Sunset Wilds, or that Kamek flies around in Bowser's Castle 3, and even Bowser Castle on the air on Rainbow Road. Now what about the soundtrack? It's not just the graphics that the GBA gets a lot of flack, as the sound chip is quite different from the SNES, as it can be heard when playing many of the SNES games on this system, but personally I think there's a charm in the GBA sound chip, as this soundtrack is quite good, and here are some of the highlights. Now it's on to the controls, as there's not much to say, but it's worth bringing up. A is to accelerate, B is to brake, and for reverse hold B and down on the D-pad. R is to drift, L is to use an item, and select is to honk your horn. For fewer buttons, this still feels pretty good to play and control. For racing, it feels like MK64, but it's a bit improved as it's not as slippery as in that game. Kind of think of it, it feels as close as Super Mario Kart the more I think about it. That's really all I have to say about the controls and the items. And with the items, I have next to nothing to say, as it's the same items and functionality as in 64, but there are some things to point out. The banana bunch, super mushroom, and fake item box do not appear in this game, and red shells now have better accuracy than in 64, so that's an improvement. As for the tracks, I also don't have much to say, as I don't feel that inclined to go over every single track like I did before, but I would say that this is an improvement on the course design than in Super Mario Kart and 64 at times. The highlights for the tracks has to be Sky Garden, the Bowser's Castle, Shy Guy Beach, Riverside Park, Blue Lake, Cheap Cheap Island, Sunset Wilds, Ribbon Road, Lakeside Park, and Rainbow Road. So far what I've said seems like this game has not much going for it, but there's one thing that makes this game truly special, and that is the ranking system. How it works is that when you finish a race, not only you're given a trophy, but also a rank for your performance. You can get to an E, to an A, to even 3 stars if you can pull it off. Here's how you get 3 stars. You have to be in first place consistently and not lose your place. Don't get hit, don't bump into many racers or walls, and collect 200 coins minimum. It sounds demanding, and it is, but I feel like this is what gives the series a lot more replay value and skill mastery. I have been very good to get some 3 stars, but I really enjoy it a lot more than without it. But wait, there's more. You can unlock the entirety of Super Mario Kart in this game. All you have to do is get 100 coins in 1 cup and be in first, which is very easy to do, but for some reason you have to play the cup again to unlock the tracks. But that's not all you have to do but you have to do this for every difficulty, so yeah. Also, it's just me, or does the SNES courses feel shorter than the main games? Well, I suppose it goes to show how well the main game is with the course and further proves my point. So, yeah. But wait, there's more. Not much, but still. For the first time in the series, you can play in versus in single player called Quick Play, as you can choose any track with the changes of the rules, like changing the laps and having no items or coins. I feel like that not many people give credit to this game letting you play any course by yourself, so I want to bring it up, and it's fitting for Mario Kart on the go. In multiplayer mode, there's some differences if you have the game and your friends have it or not. If all your friends have it, then versus and battle mode you can play with any character and race any course, and if one of you have it, then you can still play, but it's limited to just playing as different colored Yoshis, and only 4 tracks are available to play, so keep that in mind. Back then, not only you needed the game, but also the GBA cable to connect, so it kinda gets complicated to play locally, but thanks to the GBA emulator on Switch, you can now play local wirelessly and online, making it much easier to play this game with friends. For the longest time, my opinion on this game has been that it's a good game, but something I not really want to come back, and that's how I felt back then when I played this game on the DS a long time ago. But then one day I came across a video made by the Lonely Goomba, and in that video he brings up all the good points of this game, and I knew I had to find for it for myself, and when I did, it finally clicked. This game does have a high ceiling to clear, and when I cleared it, it was a lot of fun, and that feeling carried over to Mario Kart 64. So while may I not consider this game as my favorite in the series, I've gained a bigger appreciation more than I would have. Now you could say Mario Kart peaked with Super Circuit, but let me tell you, we're not even at the tip of the mountain yet. But yeah, I knew that this video was going to be short, but hey, I was able to get it earlier than expected. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.